Alrighty, everyone. Well, welcome to our Week 5 call for the Amazing Race Challenge for both Dawn Andrews and Trisha Howard's teams. It's been really exciting. We had some great momentum going into the beginning of July with all this great $19.99 promo, so I'm super excited. And we've got Kristi White, Diamond Ambassador, with us today to talk a little bit about her take on belief. And then when she's done with hers, we'll kind of talk through the challenges that we'll be doing for the next week. So, Kristi, I'm going to go ahead and send it off to you.
Well, I want to thank everybody for having me on tonight. This is quite an honor. I apologize for my informality, but I do work my plexus business from the comfort of my own home, and I pretty much only wear makeup and do my hair when I have to go to events. So that's just the way it is, plexus freedom. But I want to talk to you about belief tonight. I think this is probably one of the best topics that we could focus on because I do personally believe that my belief is what brought me to Diamond, as well as many other factors. But I think the underlying factor for me is belief. I have to say that I think most of you know my story. I'm looking at the names on here that you know that when I started, I had just closed a cafe, and my husband and I were in a really bad financial situation. He pretty much sold everything that we had of value, from four-wheelers to rifles to anything you can think of, to basically put food on the table, and we ran out of things to sell. So when we closed the doors to the cafe, I literally the night before was in bed looking up about food stamps. My husband was sleeping because I knew that he would be really upset with me if he saw me looking into that, but I was scared. I closed my computer and I started to cry, and I prayed for something to change. I prayed for an opportunity to come my way for a job, prayed for a job. And the very next day I was sitting at my table and Tamara Holloway reached out to me and she said, "Have you ever heard of Plexus?" And I actually rolled my eyes because I've done 6 other direct sales companies, but something inside me just told me to go for it. When I joined for the $34.95, it actually left 17 cents in my bank account. And that's a really humbling experience to have that much money in your account when you don't have any food in the refrigerator. I didn't tell my husband I joined Plexus. He would have killed me because I was already a part of 3 other direct sales companies at the same time. And the only way I was able to stay in those direct sales companies was because I was making just enough money with them to afford the inventory that I had to purchase every month. So I wasn't making anything from them. Anyways, lo and behold, in my 4th month, I replaced full-time income. When I first started my business, I had such a drive, such a passion of belief. It was almost like I had hit rock bottom. And I knew that I had to make it work. Trisha, I think you said you had a really good quote when you went emerald.
Oh gosh, you're going to try and make me remember what it was.
Yeah, I won't make you remember it now. See if you can figure it out while we're
okay.
on. But it talked about the passion and belief that people have when they first start, and how people that have, out of desperation, comes amazing things. And I have to say that so many Emerald ambassadors, Sapphire, Diamond ambassadors, they all come from, most of them, I should say, come from a background of where they lost everything. And this was kind of a last resort, whether it was for their health and their health turned around immensely, or if it was for their financial situation turning around immensely. But I have to say that the belief that I had within myself, it was kind of like an all or nothing. And what I can say is that every level that I obtained with Plexus brought different fears, different feelings within me. I think that we tend to get programmed very easily to be afraid to succeed. That was a huge one for me. What are people going to think about me if I succeed? Am I still going to be liked? If I drive a really nice car, am I going to lose friends? I mean, I know these things sound stupid, but these were fears of mine that held me back. the beliefs that what other people would think of me. And I still deal with that today, probably more now being a Diamond Ambassador than I did when I first started. I think that a lot of us have, where a lot of men tend to have fear of failure, I think a lot of women tend to have fear of success. And a lot of times we will self-sabotage ourselves in order to keep us from succeeding, maybe make excuses or be afraid to reach out. So one thing that I had to do was, there's a great book, gosh, I think it was written in like the 1950s. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And when I'm going back to 1996 now, I was pregnant with my first child and I miscarried at 5 months. And I was working a full-time job at that time. And it was devastating, obviously, to me because I really wanted that child, as everybody does. But I was 5 months along and I lost that child. And I knew something was pulling me inside me that I needed to quit my full-time job. I needed to quit working 65 hours a week and just take care of myself in order to try to get pregnant again. And by the way, I now have 3 children. But when I was dealing with that emotion of having to quit my job and I didn't really know how to go about it. And again, we're talking back in 1996. A woman gave me a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And it has stuck with me so much because a lot of the time when we have that feeling of fear within us, of course, it can be a good thing, but fear can also be what holds you back. And being able to judge the difference between that. Obviously, if you're in a parking lot and you're afraid because you feel like someone's behind you, that's a good kind of fear. But if you are on Facebook and you see someone's name pop up and you think, this opportunity might really change their life, this opportunity, but I don't know, maybe they already heard of Plexus or, I don't know, they might not be interested. That fear will actually keep you from having success. So what I would say is that you want to develop an unshakable belief in yourself. And if you don't have that within yourself, because all of us have our own insecurities, and I'm probably the worst at it. I've been working at it for quite a long time. But we all have our own insecurities about what people will think or what people will say. And it was almost like one day, I think I was probably around senior gold. And mind you, I started Plexus and it left 17 cents in my account. So that first month after I got paid, I was able to buy my products and 2 carts of groceries for a family of 5. And it was the first time that I bought steak for our family in a very long time. And we live in Texas, so steak is like potatoes for Idaho. So all of a sudden I got this like warm wave of emotion. And I remember it being around senior gold where it was like, oh my gosh, I have something in front of me that is changing my life. Not only is my husband having amazing results with, at the time it was Fast Relief, now Ease, and no longer having to take hydrocodone. I had lost 20 pounds. I was off 1 antidepressant medication, sleeping better, not having to take sleeping medication. And in my 4th month, I was making more than if I was waitressing full time here in our small town. And it hit me that if I can do this, honestly, in a town of 425 people, definitely a homebody, definitely insecure, not really feeling confident about themselves, and having to pull themselves out of a hole. If I can do this, anybody can. And it was like a warm wave that came over me of emotion that I felt that it became my duty. It became my passion, not for my success. My success, I threw on the back burner. It just kind of happened. You succeed by helping others succeed. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I'm going off on a tangent, and I don't usually talk about these kind of personal things, but Tricia knows I don't usually write things. I just go from the heart. So, I would say that everything happens for a reason. We have a small group of people here tonight, and maybe there's someone out there that needed to hear my story, but I'm trying not to get emotional because you're gonna upload this to YouTube, aren't you, Tricia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, suck it up.
We love you.
I just want you guys to have an unshakable belief in what we have in front of us. This opportunity has changed my life, not only health-wise but financially. I mean, it's just crazy. I didn't see my sister for 7 years because her and I could not afford to visit each other. And I just flew to Gettysburg last week with my husband and paid for my sister and my mom to come and be there. This was the first time in 7 years. And that is just one experience that Plexus has given me. And I just wish that we could do that for other people as well. So I guess the moral of this story is that when you're nervous about reaching out to people, or you're feeling like you can't do it, you need to get over yourself. That's what I would tell myself. Get out of your own way and reach out with the idea of what's in it for them. Not you, but them. I had a girlfriend in high school, and I can remember her father passed away, and she was very angry with her mother. And she legitimately had reasons. She was just very upset with her mother. And we stood outside her mom's bedroom door. And she said, I'm afraid to talk to my mom because, I don't want to hurt her feelings, and I don't want her to be angry. And one thing that I said to her was, go in with love. Go in from a place of love. And I tell you that because it's the same thing with your Plexus business. This is not selling makeup or candles. Nothing wrong with that. But these are products that can physically change people's lives. We've all seen it. So when you reach out to people, try to take yourself out of the equation. That, I believe, is why I have some great success with people joining the team. I still enroll people on a regular basis, and it's really because at this point I probably don't have to. It's just the way it snowballs. But I do have such a passion to help other people. Best feeling in the world is when you have someone join your team and they come back to you, 2 months, 6 months, 2 years later and go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me about this. I had no idea. So, I guess this wasn't quite the upbeat message that I wanted to share with you guys, but I do think it's necessary. I see Sherry's asking, so what do you say that it takes? Can you read that, Tricia? Because I can't read.
So what do you say that takes it off of you?
I have to be honest, I am a certified feng shui consultant. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I went to school for it, and it has to do with the psychology of people's homes. And it's a very personal process when you go into someone's home and you have to tell them that get your kids' photos out of your bedroom if you and your husband aren't intimate, because you can't really be intimate when people are watching you from all these photos. That's just an example. So how do you take it off of you? One thing that I learned was I always say a prayer, honestly. And it doesn't matter what faith or religion you are. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But I always say, dear God, please let the words flow through me that people need to hear. And at that point, and it could be anything. If you're not religious, it doesn't matter. If you're spiritual, that's fine. You can say, please, universe, let the words flow through me that people need to hear, whatever it might be. that is a really powerful statement because it takes it off of you. You'll be surprised when you do that. Like if you're going to reach out to on a PM to people and you say, please, and it might just be simply, please let the words flow through me that this person needs to hear. Just saying that, for some reason, I don't know if it's spiritual, I don't know if it's just psychological, but it does take the pressure off. And then you kind of go with your gut and ask questions, do a lot more listening than you do talking. A lot of times people, when you're talking to them about plexus, they will have more interest the more they talk. The more you talk, the more bored they get. So I like to ask a lot of questions. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, I think it did, because she was asking how to take it off of you, meaning don't make it about me. And I think that's the key, is that the more we talk, the more we're the ones that they're leading the conversation too much. It then becomes about us, and it becomes a quote unquote sale, as opposed to hearing from them what is most important and then tailoring it. And I like what you said about, really kind of taking that time before. And I know we talked about this even before this call, of really just making sure that whatever you felt that person needed to hear, and if just saying help the words flow through me, I think has your brain kind of go on the right track. Like how racetrack drivers are taught to not look at the wall, because if they focus on the wall, that's where your mind goes. And it's the same thing if you're focused already on what does this person need to hear, what do I need to help them with, you're going to have a different perspective in what you're having a conversation about, as opposed to, I need to tell them all there is to know about the triplex combo and why it's super amazing in 1999. It's got to come there right now. Do it. And it becomes more about us. And I think that's key to what you were saying. So.
Yes. And when it becomes about them, you'll be so much more successful, because, some people aren't going to be ready at that time. But if they feel, that they're not being pushed, you're not trying to sell them anything, it's going to happen. Everyone on this Zoom call can be diamond. You are diamond. You can be diamond. You basically just have to decide it is so, and then get out of your own way. And I know you're saying that sounds easier said than done, but honestly, it's the truth. You have to basically go out there and say, how can I serve others? How can I help others? Who needs to hear about this business? Who is in a who has just told me they can't afford plexus? Who tells me that they can't do plexus because they don't have the time? Those are the people that need plexus. Who out there is on all different sorts of medications, or laying in bed because they're in pain, or overweight, whatever it might be? There is so many reasons, whether it's weight loss, wellness, or wealth. It touches everybody. That's why you don't want to rule anybody out. And that's why I also don't want to go in programmed as to what that person needs, because you'll be surprised.
Right. And I know you always talk about asking those questions about the 3 W's to really see where it is that your conversation needs to go. A lot of times we're so busy telling all the details and all the ingredients and all these amazing things these products do, and the person's looking at you like, I don't really care, I just want to make money, right? Or the opposite, we're telling them about all this great money they can make.
Right.
They're like, I just don't want to feel tired, and so we just need to ask the right questions. And then sales 101, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as we talk. But it's hard. I know it's especially hard when you're incredibly passionate about something. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we have when we're new.
Yes, and that's very true. And Julie, you are right. We all have a diamond within us. So, I hope this has helped you guys. You know that I'm always here to help. And every level is a new process. Tricia, do you remember your quote?
Yes, I do. It was, change comes from one of 2 reasons, inspiration or desperation.
That's right.
And yours sounded like it came from desperation. Mine came from desperation. And, and I think, and then it changes, right? And then our change as we grow, we become inspired by what we see happening. And I think that's kind of important, that people need to hear, like, which one is it? Is somebody inspired to be part of Plexus? Are they desperate? Most people are desperate. They want to feel better. They want to make more money. They want to lose weight, whatever it may be. And we just need to be focused on that, and
don't give up on yourself.
What was that?
And don't give up on yourself. This is available for everyone. If it's not going your way at the moment, there's just something, there's a breakthrough about to happen. There's something that you just need to learn. You might not be wording things correctly. You might not be listening as much as you should. And, the more you know, the more you'll grow. So, calls like this are very important because maybe if you even just got a tiny little thing out of it, it could be that one thing that pushes you over the edge to be able to have a great growth. So I know I still deal with it. So
well, everybody does. And that's kind of why we talk about Facebook being, most often the highlight reel, right? Because most people just put the good stuff on.
Oh, sure.
And they forget that so many people have struggles. Every time you grow, it's like new level, new devil, right? I mean, it's like every time you go to a next level, there's something, and it never fails. When everything's going to go wrong, it's going to all go wrong big. Right. And then it's right around the corners, the good stuff, it's like that minor that they show in the picture, showing that breakthrough, like they're right there, they're so close. And then you're like, just keep going.
Yes.
And that's what your upline's here for, is really to just push you past that and encourage you to realize this is just a really small season. And the issues you're going through, the challenges, the struggles, you can push right through them. But, sometimes you need somebody in your upline or a sideline or a power partner to go, pull your what out of where and get it together.
Right.
Sometimes we get locked in that pity party, and then we want to bring everybody into the pity party and throw balloons and have a cake and, and doesn't do anybody any good, right? The reason you're not successful is the story behind why you're not successful. Get rid of the story.
That's right.
So, well, thank you, Kristi. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to be on our call and sharing your thoughts today. It's awesome. And we've got, we're going to have kind of a fun week this week, you guys, for our challenges. So we're going to stick with our 531 because I think it works to be consistent. And so I will put daily posts for that for our 531. So your team will get 2 points per person per day that you do that. I also want your teams to kind of come up with some way to be a little bit more of a team, because we have a few people who were strangers prior to the Amazing Race and were paired up. And I want you guys to kind of build that relationship, build that power partnership. And I want to encourage you to do 2 things this week. I want your team to come up with a team quote, and I want you to come up with a team song. Now, it doesn't mean you have to write a song, right? Just find one that encourages you, that gets you pumped up, that gets you excited. I've seen people do things like, it could be a Christian-based one and they want to do all things are possible, or it's just something to get pumped up and everything's great or happy or whatever it may be. I want you guys to do that. And then the next thing I want to encourage everyone to do is, we're having such great success with all these new ambassadors that are coming on board. I want you to focus on how you're going to help these new ambassadors you guys have signed to get to that next level. So for the next week, I want you all to think about hosting your own opportunity events, like a sip and see or an online event. And I'm going to post things throughout the week to help you guys do that and to get you encouraged. We had a great call a couple of months ago with Rachel Barrow on doing sip and sees, and those were great, or the calls on the opportunity events online. So I'm going to add those, and those will be, the challenges will be up and posted as soon as I get this YouTube video posted. So we'll have all that set, and we will have winners by tomorrow for last week's leg. I've got to check with Dawn because she's traveling to see where she's at with getting her people. Oh, we've got lots of chat going on. I love this. I love that everyone's involved today. I hate when everybody gets quiet. Last week, Kristi, Megan Garrity called on somebody to ask a question.
I've done that before.
Yep. It was awesome because Jessie Siegel knew it was going to be her. She just felt it, and that's sure enough who she asked for. And then right when she started asking, my internet died.
Oh, no.
Like we all had to come back on. So, alrighty, folks. So, Kristi, again, thank you so much. And everyone, I will have this YouTube video posted and the challenges posted this evening. Have a great night.